beat on replay. Don't worry about what they say. Even the hands on a broken clock, I write 2 times a day. Stay on the grind, no delay. Lay back cause I'm on my way to detonating. I'm taking anything that stands in my way. Like tick, 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 boom, boom.
In a galaxy far, far away, Electronic Arts, a company who has won the Worst Company of the Year award about 2 times in a row, actually made a competitive shooter that was actually a breath of fresh air. I'm not sure if it's just the Force aiding my judgment, but I actually was intrigued by the Star Wars Battlefront beta. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole topic of practices that EA has done that has pretty much sullied the reputation of Star Wars Battlefront permanently in my eyes. I will say that at the end of this impressions video. However, my first impressions of Star Wars Battlefront the beta was pretty good. It was a game that I really went into not expecting much, not expecting my interest to be raised through DICE's actions, but DICE did a fine job here. This was a nice appetizer for what it was worth. When you dive right into the beta, it had 2 distinct options that you can choose from: competitive or survival. Survival is where your fix of the cooperative experience comes in, where 2 players band together and survive hordes of enemies. Usually drop pods come in, so there's more of a chance for you to get power-ups and there's more of a chance of survival with your buddy naturally. Or if you just want some nice bragging points, you can hop in this mode alone and try to survive the wrath of the final wave of the ATSTs and the Imperials chasing you down at once. I like survival mode actually. I did like what they had placed in there. It's your standard fare of course, but the Star Wars paint job, the music, sound direction, that stuff really drives it home when you're in any mode of this game. It feels like you're in an interplanetary galaxy, really fighting for your life. The same sort of style and feel of this game does transition over to the multiplayer side of the equation. Even though the beta was bare bones, I'm afraid, there was a host of modes that were locked, probably for the retail game, but for what was there was Walker Assault, which is this giant cluster of 20v20. Either you're defending comm links and trying to stop the enemy walkers from getting to your base after a certain period of time, or you're the Imperials. The Imperials in this mode can take a bit of a breather once the comm links are offline. You just have to cap a few rebels here or there, make sure the AT-ATs are in tip-top condition and you're good to go. Now, I am happy that this is getting a patch because it was hard for the rebels. It was indeed an uphill battle to destroy these hulking AT-ATs. You did eventually get Y-Wing support, but that seemed few and far between in a matchup that appeared to take forever to be done with. There were some redeemable qualities about this mode, however. Power-ups seemed to be more existent than it was in Drop Zone. Also, the opportunity to play as Luke or Vader and force choke or force kill the hell out of the opposing team never got old for me. I just wish you can pick your own character as you could in the old Star Wars Battlefront games compared to having them as these preset power-ups. Maybe that's just me. I hope the full game does have this, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's saved up for the retail release. The next and final mode that I played was indeed Drop Zone. And Drop Zone is essentially like capture the points or capture the objectives. They will usually drop a routine space pod from orbit, and it's up to you as the attacker or defender to claim this objective as your own. The team who captures the most pods under the time limit wins the match. I think it would be just a little bit more fun if the timer was removed for people just jumping into the match, but that's just my opinion. Overall, Star Wars Battlefront was pretty solid. The guns are indeed Star Wars style, so you won't see things like giant bullet-fed chain guns or anything like that. It had a range of laser blasters, orbital grenades, cylinder rifles, and thermal grenades, and with these weapons in your disposal, they can really put the hurt on the opposing team if you really know how to aim them properly. Another cool thing about this game that it does unique is the cooldown system, and you see, since you don't have your conventional weapons and this is a Star Wars game with space weapons, what will happen is if you use your blaster just a bit too much, there will be a cooldown indicator in the middle of the screen, and if you hit the yellow indicators, then you will get a perfect reload and then you will get basically your blaster back to normal. But if you don't hit it, it's sort of like Gears of War in a sense where You don't get the tactical reload, and it takes you just a little bit to reload faster if done incorrectly, and you'll basically burn yourself. So you have to wait a bit until your blaster's back to normal if you do it incorrectly. In the end, I guess you can say that this cooldown mechanic does add some tension to an already frantic multiplayer. The visuals themselves are not too shabby, but if I had one minor complaint, it would be that the colors lacked a little vibrance. But on Tatooine, the environments did look pretty stellar on the co-op map, so maybe there's more than meets the eye when it comes to the environments. One exclusion that I did find a little weird from the conventional FPS is that you cannot lay on the ground and go prone. I know that this probably could always be added or patched into the main game, but for now, Solace, it has a lot of cover points, and it's a shame that no one can utilize that on Drop Zone with the lack of a prone button. The sound design is probably one of the most amazing aspects as well when it comes to how the Star Wars lore is, when it comes to those sounds that are synonymous with Star Wars. You will fall in love with the way laser blasts veer over your head, with the way the Imperials look, with Luke Skywalker just repeatedly stabbing people with his green lightsaber of vengeance on the battlefield, and the whooshing sound of it all is just all there. John Williams' score fits well into each segment on screen, and it supplements the action rather nicely, and I have to say that it's nice that the game also runs at a constant 60 FPS without any hardcore dips in the process. To conjure up my thoughts into one solid outline, Star Wars Battlefront was very entertaining, even more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. Though I must say that due to EA's recent actions, I am not picking this up at launch, and it's a rather giant disappointment. So far this game has a lot of potential from the beta alone, but it seems to be one of those games that will be once again skull-fucked and hampered by horrific business decisions. Though this didn't fail to disappoint me all the way, I would say that this is one of the most entertaining betas that I picked up in a while, and is right up there with Black Ops 3 in terms of something amazing. I'm just going to hope that in this galaxy, or the next, that in the long run, this becomes the Battlefront game that remains to please for years to come. Otherwise, let's just hope and pray that the launch of this game becomes decent, and as a word of advice, EA, stop hampering this thing with season passes and stop masking feedback. The ball is in your court and you're just dropping it even more, and it's going to hurt this game in the end. As I said, I'm going to keep it optimistic, so I can only hope, but until then, this is Renegade Operative signing off. I hope you guys have a good day, and I hope you enjoyed my first impressions of Star Wars Battlefront, the beta. Stay tuned for some more fun in the works. Peace out.